Hi, welcome back. There's a big problem in our society with something that hardly anyone knows of. It's called confirmation bias. I first heard of confirmation bias while training at Fort Custer as a master resilience trainer for the Arkansas National Guard. I was sitting in the audience, and the speaker had the phrase confirmation bias on a PowerPoint slide before the presentation began. I remember sitting there thinking, confirmation bias? What the heck is that? You may be wondering the same thing, but it's something that has a tremendous effect on all of us, and that effect is not good. The American Psychological Association defines confirmation bias as the tendency to look for information that supports rather than rejects one's preconceptions. People with this bias, hint, hint, everybody, people with this bias tend to actively seek information that reinforces whatever values and beliefs they already hold and reject information entirely that's contrary to those beliefs and values. It's a long accepted phenomenon in psychology that gained a name in a research paper from 1977. A visual would make it easier to understand. Take a look at this Venn diagram. When facts and evidence of which we're aware coincides with our deeply held beliefs and values, we embrace those facts and that evidence. But when the facts conflict with our deeply held beliefs and values, we reject them, no matter how compelling or reasonable they are. Why? Why do we do that? This guy might know. Meet Dr. David Rock, a research psychologist from Australia whom I have tremendous respect for. I've covered some of his work elsewhere, but for our purposes today, let's take a quick look at some of his important research. In this groundbreaking 2008 paper, he proposes the overarching general human behavioral tendency is to move toward reward and away from threat. In other words, we move toward things that we want and away from things we don't want. We usually don't have to think about doing that. We do so subconsciously. We don't even think about it. Moving toward reward and avoiding threat was a primary survival need for our species. I'm here on this planet because my ancestors learned how to fear animals that could kill them. The failure to do so would have removed them from the gene pool pretty quickly. According to Dr. Rock, this tendency shapes all human behavior. Things that threaten us are met with psychological rejection. In my view, that includes threats to our self-identity. My self-identity includes my beliefs and values. If you suggest an idea in conversation that conflicts with my own closely held beliefs and values, I'm going to likely reject it. My brain automatically rejects your ideas. Why? Because I perceive it as a threat. The strange thing about confirmation bias is that knowing about it does not insulate you from its effects. I've known about it since 2013, but it still rears its ugly head in my life. Even if I actively seek to avoid it, to keep an open mind about anything at all, I'm still tempted to defend myself psychologically whenever I'm approached with ideas that are in opposition to my own. It's easy to see how this is a problem. I don't know where you live, but I live in the United States, and let me tell you, our two main political parties bicker constantly. Neither can even consider that the other party may have some valid concerns that may be of concern to their own constituents, because to do so would deeply threaten that party's own deeply held beliefs and values. It's just easier to attack than to think thoughtfully and humanely. Both parties, in my view, convince their constituents to adopt the same attitude with debilitating effects on our entire country. Confirmation bias prevents me from hearing you. If you offer an opinion that contradicts mine, my go-to response is probably going to be to begin to formulate some argument while you continue to talk. It prevents me from considering you might be something I can learn from. It prevents cooperation and compromise. It hurts our relationship. I'm sure it's now easy for you to see how confirmation bias poses real problems in the domains of personal relationships, politics, business, and any other domain you can think of. Well, what to do about this? Well, first, I would suggest admitting that you're human and subject to confirmation bias just as anyone else would be. Second, I suggest that whenever you know that you're own beliefs and values might be challenged in a conversation you're about to have, determine beforehand to listen to the other person with full attention. Those are just a couple of ideas. Now that you're aware of confirmation bias, keep your eyes and ears open. You'll see it everywhere. That doesn't mean you have to buy into it, but like me, you'll likely come to understand just how dangerous it is. Well, thanks for being here. Continue working on your emotional skills. It'll pay off. See you soon.